Uruguay is home to the so-called Miami of South America. The town of Punta del Este is very famous amongst South Americans. Many wealthier people in Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil and Chile come here for New Year's Eve celebrations and come here to spend summer vacation in January. Now, I did not visit in Uruguay in summer. I visited in August 2025, which is the tail end of winter. It was bloody cold, though luckily most of the days were clear blue skies. Now, if you are planning to spend at least 2 weeks in Uruguay, I would dedicate at least 2 or 3 days of your itinerary to come and spend in Punta del Este. Hopefully you can tell from the clips in this video, the town is really nice. But if you are in Uruguay for a short period of time, you can visit Punta del Este as a day trip from Montevideo. I have put a link below in the description and the comment section to this tour that does take you on a day trip from Montevideo to Punta del Este if that does interest you. However, as I said before, if you have the time, I would spend at least a couple nights here. When you come here, you will see lots of nice modern skyrise buildings, but you also find a few of these interesting European style buildings. You sometimes see these German-like buildings, and then you see these Greek kind of buildings too. Now, of course, if you come here in the summer months, there are beaches. That is what the town is famous for, but I'm not sure I would want to swim in those beaches in July or August unless you want to freeze to death. But regardless of what time of year you come to visit, you will find a lot of really nice cafes here. And if you do come to visit during off season like myself, the town has a really nice peaceful coastal vibe. And as you can see in the clip here, the town is famous for having sea lions. So let's go through firstly how you get to Punta del Este. So you will probably be arriving from Montevideo. So when you are in Montevideo, you need to head to the Tres Cruces bus terminal. And when you enter the terminal, you will see multiple bus companies and multiple vendors who are selling bus tickets to Punta del Este. So just go to one of the stores or one of the stands and just buy your bus ticket there. You can pay with either cash or credit card or debit card. Now, you can buy your tickets online if you prefer booking your tickets in advance. This is actually what I did. So there are 2 bus companies that you can book online with. COT, C-O-T, or COPSA. I used COT Bus. I booked the ticket online in advance. Just type in COT Bus Uruguay or COPSA Bus Uruguay and you can buy the tickets on the website hassle-free. But unless you're going to Punta del Este for New Year's Eve or in the first couple of weeks of January, peak summer season, I would not necessarily stress about buying your bus tickets online in advance because there are just so many buses that run throughout the day from Montevideo to Punta del Este and back again. But if you are going to buy tickets online, don't worry, you don't need to print the ticket off. You can just show the ticket on your phone to get onto the bus. Additionally, when you arrive into Tres Cruces bus terminal, you may notice when you look at the departures board that there could be 2 buses going to Punta del Este at the same time, both with the same bus company. As you see on the bottom of the screen here, there are 2 COT buses going at 12:30 to Punta del Este. But notice if you look at the Coche column, the coach column, there is bus 1 and bus 2. On your ticket that you booked online, it will tell you if you booked bus 1 or bus 2. So just make sure that you go to the right platform, to the right bus. The journey will be around 2.5 to 3 hours, and then you arrive here at the little bus terminal in Punta del Este. Now, in terms of where to stay in the town, if you do want to be nearby supermarkets, cafes and restaurants, I would recommend staying perhaps in this circle that I've highlighted here. This is the busiest part of the town. This is the commercial center of the town. You are walking distance away from the beaches and you're walking distance away from the marina. So Gorlero is the main high street that runs through this part of town. So if you are near there, you should be all good. However, if you are looking for some peace and quiet, then you may want to consider staying right here at the bottom of the peninsula. There is not much going on here. Now, in terms of what you can expect to pay for accommodation in Punta del Este, I stayed nearby the Gorlero street, as I mentioned before, and I found an Airbnb for 7 nights for £172.04, which is about £24.58 per night, which in US dollars is just over $33 per night. Now, a couple of disclaimers about that. As I said earlier in the video, I did visit right in the heart of off season when it was really cold. Secondly, my room was tiny. It had a bed, it had a desk, it had a little sink area, it had a little bathroom. It also had mold on the walls too. So not necessarily luxury accommodation. I was seeing hotels for around £30 per night. Again, these are not luxury hotels. These are kind of budget, cheap and cheerful hotels. So that's going to be at least $40 per night if you want a decent little total room. Again, I emphasize this is winter prices. Now in peak season, I've seen these same hotels raise their prices up to a minimum of $80 a night. Now, to give you a bit of a flavor for the prices on the ground when you go to restaurants and cafes, I went to a cafe called Abrajar. I had avocado, egg toast, I had a cheesecake and a little chocolate drink. So this in total cost me 722 pesos. So that is just over $18. So it's not cheap, but it's not too expensive, I would say. I did see other cafes that were charging higher prices than this, to be fair. So I also got a Milanese and fries at this place called Box Garden. Box Garden is like this big food court, and you have food options, you have a cafe, you have a bar there. I would recommend going there. I did enjoy it. My Milanese and my bottle of water there again cost me around 722 pesos, so again over $18. And if you want to eat the national Uruguayan dish chivito, it depends where you go, but you'll be paying anywhere between 600 to 800 pesos, and that's including fries. So similar prices to what you'd pay for chivitos in Montevideo. For those of you who are eagle-eyed, you may have noticed that some of the prices that I was paying in Punta del Este were not very round whole numbers, they were kind of long decimal numbers. That's because in Uruguay you do get a VAT discount if you are paying with a foreign bank card. I have talked about this before in my other Uruguay videos on my channel, so do feel free to check those out. Now, as for some of my recommendations for things to do in Punta del Este, as I said before, I do recommend going to Box Garden for some food and drink. Now, when you arrive at the Punta del Este terminal, you may get a glimpse of these big fingers. This is called La Mano de Punta del Este. In English, the hand of Punta del Este. It's just a statue of some fingers, not very exciting, but people do like to go there and take some photos, so maybe you would as well. Now, of course, I'm sure that you would want to go to see the sea lions. They hang around in the marina area that I've circled here. If you hang around this marina for long enough, you will eventually see them. You see lots of them when the fishmongers go and chuck the fish into the sea for them to eat. Now, a little bit outside of the town of Punta del Este, you have a point of interest that you may want to go and check out. It's called the Casa Pueblo, and it's this hotel resort with the Santorini-esque, Greek-esque buildings. I did not personally go, but if you do want to go there, you will have to take a taxi or take Uber to get there because there are no public buses that run there. The Uber application does work in Punta del Este, but unless you're going to the Casa Pueblo, you won't really need Uber because Punta del Este is a very small town. Everything is very walkable. I will give you a couple of cafe recommendations. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Abrajar is a nice cafe. There is also another one called frances.co, which is really nice too. I will just add, if you're going to any restaurants or cafes during the off season, the opening hours that you see on Google or the opening days may be wrong, because I did notice that some places were closed even though Google said they were open. If you do go to Punta del Este in January peak summer, apparently Punta del Este is a really big party destination with lots of beach clubs. There certainly is none of that going on in the middle of winter in August. On a Friday night, I did go to a bar called Patagonia Bar, which is an Argentinian chain of bars that you see everywhere in Argentina, but there's one here in Punta del Este. It was very expensive. It was over 10 British pounds for 2 beers, so that is almost $14 and the bar was pretty small and pretty empty as well. So yeah, not the best nightlife here unless you're going in January. And the final thing that I will touch on is safety. Punta del Este, in my opinion, is really safe. I was walking around the town both day and night time and I had no issues at all. I felt no danger whatsoever. If you have been to Punta del Este, or if you are from Punta del Este, do let me know in the comments your tips and recommendations for the town. Do you like the town? Did you enjoy your time there? I would be interested to know how significant the difference is in Punta del Este in winter compared with summer. And if you are planning to come to Punta del Este soon, also let me know as well. If you have found today's video useful and interesting, make sure you click the like button and do subscribe to my channel for more travel videos.